Welcome to a special edition of the show with no name for Saturday, July the 30th, 2016. Gavin, it's been a while.
It has been. It's been since October.
Wow.
Time's flown, you're having flies.
Yeah, I mean, I left the show October 16th, and you were gone, what, about the 1st of October?
1st of October, yep.
Wow.
Yep.
And you know, people keep saying...
Why did we leave?
That's right. I missed the show with no name. Why did you leave?
Why did I leave?
Why did you resign?
I got a job. I had to work days, and I couldn't take 2 hours off in the middle of my shift.
Okay, I got no job, and I moved to Albany.
Well, that's great. Albany, a step up?
Well, it's a nice step.
It's a step.
It's a nice step. We had, no relatives left in the city other than distant cousins. So you went
to where the action is. There's more things in Albany than there are here.
Yeah, Mary had no family whatsoever, and I've got about 1,000 second cousins here.
That's okay.
Thirds. And we're closer to our granddaughter and my daughter and her husband. And
cultural activities are more abundant there than here?
The cultural activities are just really nice. Even when we don't go, it's nice knowing that
they're there.
They're there. We always liked Albany. When we first got married, we lived there in an apartment.
While you were in law school?
While I was in law school. We were in an apartment for a year and a half, and then we owned a house down there for a year. And it's funny, when I was a kid and we'd go into Albany, I lived in Westmere, right outside, but Albany was a big city. And I want to own a house on Manning Boulevard. Well, I did. I was just out of law school and I bought a house on Manning Boulevard. It wasn't one
of those houses.
No, it was a nice house. It was a nice house. Would have been a nice house wherever it was, and that was a nice neighborhood.
It is.
So now we live on Ontario Street, just off of New Scotland, walking distance from the fountain where I bought many a pizza while I was in law school, and
they have good pizza
with my friends. And several other nice bistros. There are a couple of sushi places that are absolutely fabulous.
And you're not far from where your daughter works.
2/10 of a mile from Albany Medical Center.
Or 1/5 of a mile for us traction challenge people. Correct?
Wait, what's the square root? Wait a minute. I'm doing it.
2/10 is 1/5.
1/5, yeah. 1/5 of a mile.
1/5 of a mile. Not even one lap of a track, because that's 1/4 of a mile.
More or less.
Inside lane, outside lane would be farther. You're right. So that's great. You get to see her often.
Yes, we do. And, since we last saw each other, I've got a new granddaughter down in Queens.
You do?
That's right. Little Emma. She's an apple of my eye and her daddy's eye and her mommy's eye. And
you must have like a bushel of apples. You've got like bushels of apples now.
Well, we got 2 lovely little girls, and
is that
be
a peck?
happy with
Is
them.
2 a peck? Or is a peck bigger than a 2?
Well, a peck is 1/4 of a bushel, is it not?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Well,
so whatever you tell me, I'll believe.
I believe
it's not a pint.
There's 4 pecks to a bushel.
Wasn't she in your class? Wasn't there a peck in your class? Yeah, Sue Peck was in my class. Who was in your class?
I had no pecks in my class.
No pecks in your class. They were younger than you.
Yeah.
Okay. They lived down on the corner of Caroline and Guy Park.
Oh, well, there was a song, I love you, a bushel and a peck.
And up.
And a hug around the neck. And a barrel in the
hug around your neck, okay.
Okay. So we're at the annual Hillhoods and Friends reunion at the beautiful Riverlink Park, right alongside the river here. We would be...
Which river?
The Mohawk River. Of course, I got the Hudson River down.
That's right.
I was taking a nice walk down there in the Corning Preserve yesterday with Chip the Wonder Dog.
Really? Does he like it down there?
He does. And we got swimming pools there. There's a swimming pool here in Amsterdam, too.
Yeah,
it's free in Albany.
Really?
Free water.
There's
2, the big Lincoln Park pool, and then there's one, well, you know the size of my pool on George Street.
Yes, I do.
There's one that's about maybe half again as large out at the old Mater Christi Seminary, which is run by the city of Albany. We've been there several times. Haven't been to the Lincoln Park pool yet, other than to drive through it to see how to get there. But it's nice, you know. In these hot days, you cool right off.
And there's been some of those.
There've been a few of those.
Yeah.
It only takes one air conditioner to cool my apartment off. Yeah. There's something to be said for
Downsizing?
downsizing. Now, if you recall seeing me pulling my hair out in the last week of my downsizing.
That's right. You were hustling to find things. Have you found everything, Bob?
No.
Has everything been returned?
Oh! I
Speaking
got
of
stuff.
that,
Yeah, you know, I found some of the stuff.
Did you?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
You remember where it is now after you found it?
I put it in an envelope and marked it Gavin.
Okay.
And put it somewhere. But that's in the apartment.
It's a different story. Yeah.
I still haven't found the Mohawk pictures. I've got the soccer pictures and stuff. I found that. So it's amazing. But let me tell you, when we filled our bunker up, the storage unit,
Yes.
brought to you by Storage for You by Ihor Romerick over on James Street. Wonderful guy to do business with, and he keeps it nice and clean. I wish he'd clean my place out. Anyway, literally packed it to the door.
It's filled.
I mean, it was
Filled.
initially just they finally threw a hat in there or something. Was the last
And that's
thing.
it.
And that was it. And of course, I had some of my office stuff in there too. I closed my office too. Oh,
It's amazing how much stuff we accumulate over.
that's after I got rid of 3/4 of it. I'm down. We were putting out 50 bags a week for the garbage for months. It took a year to clear the attic out. I don't know how many old TVs and computer monitors that still worked that we
Got rid of.
that we brought over to the recycling.
Did you have to pay for that?
No. Air conditioners, yes.
TVs, no.
TVs, no. Computers, you just bring them over there, and they're really good. I mean, they're really good. So I made a lot of trips to the
Landfill.
to the landfill situation, and then in Albany, we asked the landlady, "What do you do about this big?" She said, "Oh, just put it out on the street. It'll be gone in a half an hour."
Somebody will come by and pick it up.
Honest to God, I mean, I brought I don't know how many standing lamps and stuff like this, stuff that was broken. Everything I brought and put on the street in Albany, somebody picked up.
So you contribute to the employment and the economy of Albany by downsizing your stuff.
And we got a guy in the neighborhood who picks up all the cans and bottles, and he's a friend of mine now. I used to give him change so I could go get a cup of coffee. Now I just give him bags of cans. So what the heck? I'm going to give him the money anyway.
Right, that's right. Save me a trip.
And yes, and he works, and he's working for it. This guy hustles. I mean, he's out there walking every day through the whole section of Albany.
That's a good
A
thing.
lot of interesting characters. Yeah.
That's a good thing.
And of course, I found out today that Christine Mezzio's your classmate.
Yes.
Her daughter lives 2 doors away from me.
Mary Alice is Mezzio's niece.
That's right.
They got their familiar exchange going right through there.
Yeah.
That's a great thing. We had a nice crowd here today.
Yes, and it's a good crowd.
Yes, it is.
Nice people.
Wow. We went to school with nice people. So.
We did. That's really true. I remember we were going on, I think maybe our 8th grade class trip. I remember one of the nuns saying, "I don't want you fighting over who you're going to sit next to. There is no one in your class that you won't have a good time with." And she was absolutely right.
Where did you go?
When on the class trip?
Yeah.
To Albany.
Your future home.
My future home.
You didn't know it at the time, though.
I know.
That's great.
I had been in Albany. Of course, we lived in Westmere. Going down to Lincoln Park the other day, it all flowed back to me. We used to have bus loads go from Westmere down to Lincoln Park for swimming lessons in the summer. And I don't know who paid for it. The school district, I'm sure my parents didn't pay for it.
Is that how you learned to swim?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I learned to swim when I fell off a log in an old swimming hole down the West Mill.
That was out of necessity, not out of desire.
Oh, yeah, I was just like a pollywog. As soon as I fell in the water, I just kept swimming underwater. It was great. But I learned to formally swim in the Lincoln Park pool. And we kind of pulled up. The kids were all splashing inside, and I remembered exactly where the bus used to park and how they used to have a concession stand in there. And after we were done swimming, before we went home, my mother gave us each a penny so we could buy a Fireball or bubble gum or something. So I had a Fireball every day on the way home, and that's where I learned that great camping song, 100 Bottles of Beer on the Wall.
You did?
Yeah.
You learned all the verses?
All the verses.
Most people don't get to all the verses.
We never finished it before we got back to Westmere, but they never stopped.
No.
Anyway, what's new with Gavin? What have you been up to?
Well, we got back from Canada a couple weeks ago. We went up to Sioux Outlook in Canada, Ontario. We went fishing. We caught 127 fish while we were there.
Could you bring them back?
We brought back 8. That's all you could bring back. So we threw a lot of them back. But every morning when you went in the morning.
Sure you didn't catch the same fish 100 times?
Well, it's funny you say that, Bob. We did catch one fish twice the same morning.
How do you know it was the same fish?
Well, because Vinny Fiorillo, who went with us fishing, lost his
you were on the
lure.
Vinny Fiorillo trip.
He was on my trip.
I see.
All right, and he lost his lure. About an hour before he went to have lunch, he caught a fish, and it's the one that had taken his lure. We caught about 110 fish that particular morning, that last morning we were there. Vinny was the top fisherman. He caught 96 fish. My oldest son, Todd, caught 94. He came in second place. So we had an absolutely great time. We caught walleye, northern pike, and muskie while we were there.
And what did you save to bring home?
Walleye. They're the best eating.
Yeah?
Yeah, we brought those back. And we're going to be going back again next year. And we've got a waiting list of folks who would like to go with us because they heard what a great time we had up there.
How deep into Ontario?
It's a 26-hour drive from here.
Wow!
It's
were you up on Hudson Bay? Or?
Well, it's between Thunder Bay and Hudson Bay where we were.
Really?
Yeah. We had an Ojibwe guide. We've been guiding on this lake that
drive all over.
Yeah.
Really?
Without stopping, except for bathrooms, and I drove the whole way because we only had enough. We couldn't afford to have 2 drivers on the rental, so I was the designated driver, and we had a fabulous time. The Ojibwe guide knew all the hot spots to fish. No GPS, no fish finder. It was a great time that we had, and now we're going to be going back, and next year that's going to be our big trip. Misha,
no women?
Only waitresses at the lodge where we were, but we didn't take any women with us. No. My youngest son Todd.
And I assume you didn't take any women while you were there.
No, he didn't. Misha went, which is his first time going fishing, and he had a great time. He's competing up in Maxville, Ontario, at a bagpipe competition. So he's not with us this weekend. So we have a nice quiet weekend at home. And get some.
It's even quieter for your wife because you're down here.
No, I didn't think of that. You're right. It is very quiet with her there.
We've been by your house several times because when we're in town, we kind of like to sneak past the
neighborhood.
See what they're up to.
Yeah. You can always stop. We'll probably answer
every
the door.
time we've gone by, it looked like there was nobody home.
It always looks like that, but we're
like no cars either.
There should be 1 car in the driveway.
At all times.
At all times, because my son bought a car. Misha.
Really?
He used his bagpipe money. We got a 2002 Hyundai Elantra for $1,000.
I love my Hyundai.
And he's reading his book to get his permit. He doesn't have his permit yet, but
he
has
got
a car. He has a car, yeah.
But he doesn't have his
permit.
He's not 16.
Yeah, he has turned 16 this past March. Yeah. And next weekend he's going to be playing at a wedding up at Pine Lake to help fund his insurance for this car that he now has. So
wow.
We've had a busy summer between soccer and bagpipes. Last Tuesday night he played down at Sharpshooters here in Amsterdam at open mic night, and they invited him to come back this coming Tuesday to play again. They gave him a couple rock songs.
I understand they have pool tables in that place.
Way in the back they do, but we're only in the front part. But yeah, they got a nice crowd down there. A lot of local people come down and sing and perform and everything. And it was.
Have you been up yourself to?
No.
No.
No,
I had several great aunts who used to go to karaoke night. One of them was 79. The others were in their 80s at the time. Unfortunately, the last of them just passed away a couple of weeks ago at the age of 90.
No, I don't have a lot of pride in myself, but I've got enough pride not to go up there and try to perform anything. It's not karaoke. It's all.
Yeah.
You know, I just.
You got to provide your own instrumentation.
Instrumentation, yeah, you do.
Or anybody sing a cappella?
Nobody's sang that a cappella song this time. No, we all had somebody accompanying them. You know, so it was fun. We had a good time. So we've been pretty busy this summer.
By the way, those of you who think this show might get too boring, I only had 22 minutes on the battery when I started.
Right, and we got down to about 8 minutes left.
Can you see that?
Looks to be a single digit.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway. So what's going on in Amsterdam? How's the new administration doing?
Seems to be going pretty well. There's a lot less news every day about the administration, which means no news is good news.
Yeah.
We've had an issue the last several weeks with breaking sewer lines, but that's not the administration's fault.
Yeah, it seems to me they've
dealt with
certainly
it quickly.
They have addressed the issue.
They have, you know, and it's not an issue that is not uncommon throughout the state. Many communities are suffering with aging infrastructure.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's really ancient up there because that's the Rockton section.
Yes, it is.
It was somebody else's village before it became part of it.
Yep, it was up behind Mohawk Dairy, someplace where the line broke.
I guess I didn't read the story this morning. We do get the recorder online, but apparently their bypass they did yesterday made things worse. So now they're really puzzled.
Yeah.
When stuff is underground, who knows where it's coming from?
Because they actually haven't found the exact leak, so they're kind of making their best guesstimate, and so that's tough. We had that great big washout on Miami Avenue up by the high school.
What was that? Miami Avenue's like closed for months, right?
Yeah, it has, and it probably won't be open until sometime in September because they had a special order of the culvert because it's a 132-foot long culvert they had to order because it was one side to the other.
Was the Bun Creek that wiped it out, or what?
That's what flowed behind, and that's what it was.
Wow.
So they had to order it, and it's been closed ever since. And you don't realize how often you go up there and you want to take the shortcut.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you do.
Because just about every time I come to town, I'm swinging around Clisby on my way to someplace.
And you got to go up the long way, up by the chicken farm. Yeah, you got to go a long way now. So there's no shortcut across that part of town.
Well, anyway, I'd like to say hi to all my friends and relatives in Amsterdam, and I do miss doing the show.
Yeah, it was probably one of the best things we ever did for 5.5 years.
Yeah.
It was wonderful, and I think the city misses it too because there's nothing like it anymore in WCSS. Still got Sam, but there's nothing else.
Wow.
You know, Mike Mancini's back now. He does a 2-hour show on Fridays of Oldies.
Yeah.
And then Tony Labatt does his daily show with the Oldies.
Yeah.
But there's no. I thought that was Ship the Wonder Dog for a month.
I did too. He rubbed right by me. That's the Gilston dog right there.
So anyhow, they don't have anything like us since we left.
I don't know how much time we got left, but I found this great story in an old Amsterdam news clipping.
Can you tell us the story in a couple minutes?
Yeah. I don't remember the names of the people involved.
That might be a good idea.
It's just as well. One was a bartender, and there were two guys who decided to make a bet, and whoever lost the bet would have to buy a round of drinks for everybody in this bar, plus I don't know, spiral onions or something. Whatever the snack of the day. Blooming onions. So they said, well, never mind the bet. Let's go and get the drinks now. So they go to the bar. They explain to the bartender, we got a bet going. You're going to decide the bet. Okay?
He picks the winner.
You pick the winner of this bet. And the loser pays drinks for everybody in the house. So the bartender gets drinks for everybody in the house. He comes over, he's got a little red book. Apparently they did this a lot in those days.
Yeah.
And he says, well, let me write down the terms of the bet here so we're in full understanding of what it is. And they said, well, he's betting that if the steeple on St. Mary's Church falls, it's going to fall in an eastward direction, and I'm betting that it will fall in a westward direction. The bartender says, does it look like it's about to fall? They said, well, no. Well, how am I going to decide this bet? Well, we'll wait till the steeple falls.
It'll be a long time before they come back and pay for those drinks.
Exactly. 10 years now pass, and there's this hurricane hits the area, and the guy comes into the bar, and the bartender says, is there much damage from the hurricane? And the guy says, no, not much. The steeple at St. Mary's fell down. Which way did it fall? East. It fell on the rectory. In fact, closes the bar. This is a true story. Closes the bar, walks immediately to the train station, takes a train to Albany with his little red book in his hand, finds the guy who lost the bet, shows him the thing, and charged him for the round of drinks with compound interest for the previous 10 years. The guy immediately wrote him a check for the whole thing.
Oh, wow. What a great, only in Amsterdam.
A great Amsterdam story, isn't it? I mean, if I wrote that in one of my novels, nobody would believe it.
You made that up.
But this was a contemporary account I was reading, and everybody's name was in it.
You know, and in Amsterdam there were many, many neighborhood bars just like that, where friends would get together on a regular basis to commiserate about their life, the town, and the things that are going on. And we don't have those anymore.
And the other thing of interest is I read a book this week called The Black Calhouns. It's a fairly recent book. It came out this year. Written by Lena Horne's daughter. I remember, of course, Lena Horne, who's now about 78, 79. Anyway, Lena's grandparents were the first black family in this neighborhood in Brooklyn. They bought this nice new townhouse, and across the street were all these old ramshackle wooden tenements where the Irish lived. And the Horne family would have nothing to do with the Irish because they were ill-spoken and low-life. Among the Irish across the street from Lena Horne was Jackie Gleason and the Francis Goodison family, my great-great-grandfather and his second family. And all my ancestors would go to that house right across the street, kitty corner across the street from Lena Horne. It was Lena Horne's home for the first quarter of her life.
Wow, what a story!
Yeah,
small world.
Yeah, and there's no indication that she ever even met Jackie Gleason, even though they were only a year apart. Gleason was 16 years younger than my grandmother, but they did go to the same school at different times, PS 73, which is still standing.
It is.
Yeah. Now you think of all the schools in Amsterdam that were torn down. This one had to have been built before 1900, and they're still using it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, I think that should about do it. We seem to be running out of time. So I'm Bob Going with Gavin Murdoch. This has been the show with no name, and we may come back someday. Who knows?
But we'll be back next year, same date, same time.
That's right. Okay.
Stand.